Hello and welcome to another episode of the Kennel NRL podcast, where we talk about the Bulldogs, about State of Origin, and about everything NRL. But what we don't usually talk about is surviving lightning strikes and surviving lightning and defeating lightning. And this week is exactly what happened with the Bulldogs. They were absolutely on fire, and lightning was called in to try and halt the Bulldogs' momentum. And while they may have succeeded a little bit, the Bulldogs were absolutely, the better team on the day, and the Dogs won. What an experience it was to be there. I've never ever seen anything like that live in my life, and it'll probably be one I remember for a long time. But before we get into any of that, and I can see so many people in the chat, I want to give a spicy welcome to my trusty co-host, Dibbo. Good evening, Dibbo. How you doing, brother?
Good, mate. Good. I thought that was soft to call the players off on the weekend. I don't know. It was a bit of a surprise, actually.
I don't think it was soft. I think, that they had their reasons. It was, if you were at the stadium, you would have seen it was absolutely insane. The level of thunder was just incredible. But look, there is a lot to talk about. We do have a little
You know
bit
what? I'll give you something. You're not a fair weather fan, that's for sure. After seeing
that
on TV.
that Dolphins game, I swear, I went to that Dolphins game. It was like 10,000 fans. It was nuts.
I think you only go if you need a submarine. Otherwise, you're not at the games.
Yeah.
Give him a submarine. That's it.
Yeah,
submarine
like
weather
the Eels
only.
game. The Eels game, the weather was a lot better, and I couldn't end up going to that one because I had a wedding. But the Doggies are doing well. We supported them when they were doing crap. You can only increase your support right now. And so very quickly, I want to give a big welcome to Morris Zatar, Buffalo Snowy 7. Welcome if you're new. Lovely to have you here. Eddie Abs, good to see you again, brother. Zatar once again. Jamie, number one fan. Welcome. Norm, we love you, brother. Thanks for being here. Rayman, ahla. Knox, who else is here? Pretty much I've called everybody out. And if you're sitting there in the background, just having a bit of a listen to us, give this video a thumbs up. Send us a message. Get engaged in the chat. We love meeting everybody. Magas, there you are. There you are, ready to make the chat complete. Magas, but welcome. It's always good to have you guys on. We love having you on, as many people on as possible. There is a bit of an agenda today. We will be recounting that Bulldogs win against the Rabbitohs. Then we'll be previewing State of Origin 2. Then we're going to let Dibbo, crash out about Carl and his father.
You know what's funny?
We're going to give him a little bit of time to
for those who've been with us the last couple of years, but if anyone remembers, how often have I ranted about father and son last year and this year?
100%.
And now all of a sudden,
multiple times, yeah.
Now all of a sudden, everyone's on the bandwagon. Geez. Anyways,
hello, Dogs of War. Yes, there will be a Dragons rant. Bilal Abu Khalil, welcome. Good to have you in here. There will be a Dragons rant, and if it's good enough, I will clip it and put it on the Kennel social media pages. But I think there's no one that's gonna crash out like that other Dragons fan that has an absolute heart attack every time the teams are named. But do want to start with the review of the Doggies game against the Rabbitohs. It was there's a bit to talk about, I think. But actually, before I give you my thoughts, Dibbo, I want to hand to you what you thought about that performance. And guys, I want you to let me know in the chat what you thought about the Doggies' performance against the Rabbitohs.
They actually surprised me in that first 20 minutes or so. I thought, geez, 18-0. They could have went up another try, to be honest, or even 20 points if they took the penalty kick. Came racing out of the blocks. Caught me by surprise, totally. I thought, geez, I got my tip completely wrong. It's not even going to be a close game. And I thought, yeah, but you know what? if you remember the 2015 game between the Roosters and St George, Anzac Day, do you remember that one where the hailstones and the ground flooded all in the space of 10 minutes or 15? They had to call the game. That was incidentally the last time the game got called off. The Dragons were absolutely on top in that game, annihilating the Roosters. Same thing here. The Dogs are annihilating Souths, which is very surprising because I thought it was quite even lineups, to be honest. Like, honestly, obviously, I'm not saying the Dogs are full strength. We know how many players they were missing. I thought it was going to be a cracking game. It did end up being a really good game. But after the resumption of play, it felt the Dogs definitely had the winds taken out of their sails. They were lacking some, the way to say it, probably bite in their bark or bark in their bite, whatever you want to say. So it ended up being a lot closer. Then the Dogs got ahead. They got a bit comfortable. They let Souths back in again. End up being one try in it or 6 points. They get a bit complacent, but I thought the better team did deserve the win. Most importantly, they got the 2 points, which was what was desired. I don't think it was a bad performance, to be honest, at all. And I don't think we should be harsh on the Dogs whatsoever. I still give them something like a B, which is still pretty good for the circumstances they copped and all that. And it was a game they could have easily lost. Like, honestly, they were missing key players. Captain Crichton, Burden wasn't playing.
Yeah, but if we lost that leading 18-0 to start, I think that would have been quite embarrassing. Very quickly, sorry to interrupt you. I just want to give a quick shout out to Norm Eder. Second week in a row, he gives us a very, very generous super chat. Thank you. It's a massive thank you from us here at the Kennel. We love you guys. We love your support, and we really hope that you guys enjoy our content and enjoy interacting with us. We love you guys, and honestly, I feel like I look forward to these Tuesdays just because I get to talk shit with all you guys and have a bit of a laugh. Honestly, I really thank you from the bottom of my heart for those super chats. It's so it means a lot. It's very, very appreciated. So look, I feel like what was missing when we came back out was that leadership from Crichton to get us up after that that break.
Jeez, you're being harsh,
with the Lightning. No, I sort of honestly being live at that game. It was, and if you watch I've released a video log of the of my experience at the game. It feels like it doesn't feel like we won. Like, it didn't feel like a loss because you know what, we're on top of the table. We've got a bye, so it was a 4-point win. But it didn't feel like a win. It didn't feel that satisfying sort of exclamation mark that we've had, say for example against the Eels. It was dominant. With the Rabbitohs, I think especially because they scored that last try from really, sort of a really good move. It sort of took the wind out of our sails, even if it was a win. So I thought that was disappointing that we sort of let it slip. But I will say that
harsh.
I will say that it's a very unique situation. To come out and play absolutely on fire, and then sort of have to go in when you're not planned to go in. It disrupts your flow. And if you're on top, you've got the momentum. You lose the momentum, you have to reset. And if you're the team that's not sort of leading, you have a chance to reset. So it reminded me a lot, honestly, of when we sort of went in at halftime against the Raiders when we were losing 20-0. I felt like we couldn't wait for halftime, and we couldn't do anything until we got into halftime. And I felt like that was sort of the same thing that happened with the Rabbitohs this game. So, I sort of understand what happened, and Serraldo didn't seem too upset with the performance and the win. However, for me,
agree.
You know what? I don't know. I thought we came out really flat after the resumption. We were off for 25 minutes. I did feel that we came out really, really flat. And I made that comment at the game. I was with Zatar, and I told him, I said, look, I think we've come out quite flat. And I felt like we sort of just went through the motions. We were really ahead. But there is something else that I really want to point out from this. And that in the first 32 or 30 minutes or whatever it was.
Yep.
I actually think that was some of the best attack we've shown all year.
Surprised me.
Sexton was killing it. Sexton was absolutely killing it. He came out on fire, right? That's the first thing. The other thing was, I thought Galvin, in the first half an hour anyway, really straightened up our attack, and you can tell what he adds, and you can tell what he brings to the attack. And, you know, while I'm a little disappointed at the way the game eventuated, if we can go away and look at that half an hour and say we can play like that for 80 minutes, our attack is going to get two times as good or three times as good as what it was. Because one of the things that I've realized is that we've got an average winning margin of 14 points right over the season. That's not bad. That's not bad, but it's also not great. Right?
It's about plus 300. That's about plus 300. Come on, that's pretty good.
It's it's not that it's not as good as what we sort of want it to be. And so
look, you're missing you're missing a good half a dozen players there.
There's no excuses.
It was very tricky. Huh?
You're sure we were missing players, but so were they, right? They were missing. They're missing Cody Walker, Latrell Mitchell. They're missing Cameron Murray. They're missing Campbell Graham. So they're missing some good players, right?
Yeah, all right.
They're missing some good players.
But you got the 2 points. And
we did get the 2 points.
Honestly, it wasn't like you guys. It wasn't like you guys got gifted the 2 points. It was a very tricky game, especially what happened. You know, the fact that you guys could have let it slip. Look, the first 20 minutes, he's got out of third gear. He was definitely out of third gear.
Yeah, 100%.
The rest of the game, it was scrappy. It was tough. It was always going to be hard on you guys because they had all the time in the world to sit there, reflect, and recalibrate. You know, so it was always going to be, you guys were always going to be up against it. You did get away from them again, and then they did score that late try and made it interesting. But who came out with that late hit again? Curran? Or no, Sherry? Someone came out with a nice late hit.
No, that was Preston when
Preston, thank you. It was a good hit.
And yeah, it was a great hit.
Who was your man of the match? Can I ask that now? I got someone who was my man of the match, and I actually was really, and he's the one that pretty much set the tone for you guys to go up 18-0.
I think in that game it's hard to go past Sexton.
Sexton was like good, but honestly, and he wreaked havoc in that first 20. He was still good throughout, even when the resumption of play. Viliami Kikau. He was exceptional. His offloads were killing him. In his defense,
definitely led from the front.
Good runs out left, and he was causing a lot of havoc. So, you know, even though he might not receiving the ball at times, their eyes were all on him. It was really good.
I thought he took some really tough runs when he needed to.
It was one of his better games of the year.
Yeah, I thought. Look, I'm definitely, I'm definitely in agreement that I thought he was absolutely fantastic.
His leadership was vital in that game, absolutely vital. And look, special mention to Sexton. It was one of his better performances in the last few months. But I don't know. Just for me personally, I just couldn't go past Kikau, to be honest.
Yeah, I thought Kikau was great. I thought Sexton was really good. A question.
There is somebody that's annoying me in your team, though.
Who's that?
And the ball doesn't seem to be going to Galvin. I know it's only 1.25 games in now, but Marnie's starting to annoy me.
I disagree. I
think he needs to give the ball more to Galvin.
Oh, I'm not saying he doesn't, but I think it's hard for us to make the judgment on whether it's intentional or whether it's just heads up play or whether it's the game plan that Seraldo said. This is Sexton's team or this is Galvin's team, because what it looked like to me on the weekend was that it was Sexton's team and Galvin was the supporting act, and that's fair enough. Look, I'm with you, but again, I didn't say. I don't think you were saying it's intentional. I just think that the way it ran, especially the way it was humming along in the first 20 minutes.
Yep. I honestly hope the whole coaching staff rams it to whoever's in dummy half, rams it in their head, get him the ball.
Yeah, I'm with you.
It was looking threatening, and then didn't see any ball, which I found insane. Did anyone else realize he wasn't seeing the ball? It was insane. Honestly,
I think the Dogs went into their shell when it came out.
Absolutely helped you in that second half.
Yeah,
wasn't seeing the ball.
Yeah, there's a good question here by Zata. He says, set plays by coach or eyes up, good footy IQ? I think there's definitely set plays by the coach. That first try that was scored where he dummied to kick and then he passes it back on the inside. Kiraz makes the break and then passes it back on the outside. That is 100%, something that Ciraldo has practiced with the team. It's 100% something that he's noticed by watching many games of the Rabbitohs, whether it's Keon Kolomatangi or Siliva Havili or even Jai Arrow. They rush out and they leave the gap behind marker open for us to exploit. It was not something, because sure, it could be a heads-up play, but it was very smooth, very slick, and it was intentional. And it's not something you just concoct on the spot, I don't think. Even the best players maybe won't be able to fake to kick and then pass on the inside intentionally without looking. So for me, it's just another string in the bow of Cameron Ciraldo as a coach. Like we've seen it multiple times this year, where I think against, for example, the Roosters, he kept going down the middle, and we broke them with some individual brilliance down the middle for 2 or 3 of our tries. Now, that doesn't happen, and our game plan doesn't go in that direction by accident, right? There was obviously a concerted effort or video that Ciraldo has put together, right? And he's noticed that at the back end of games, Roosters struggle to defend up the middle, and we exploited it. I think the other thing, and a lot of us saw this coming, was Sebastian Chris and Xavier Savage's defensive weaknesses and their lapses. And in the second half, their plan was just to come out and target them. Obviously, we can't forget how they dismantled the Broncos last year. We went up to Brisbane and we absolutely wiped them out. And I can tell you from a really solid source of information, the way that the game plan was concocted, it was made to run the Broncos ragged, and every part of that game plan was scripted, and it went according to script. And so, I'm always amazed at a young coach who's only coached 68 games or whatever it is. He's got a 52% win rate roughly, and he's able to do things like these game plans, which I feel a lot of young coaches still are a long way away from. To be honest, I feel like a lot of experienced coaches are a long way away from. Like you look at Seabold at Manly, with all due respect, I feel like there's one style, and he takes that one style into every single game, and he tries to mold the opposition to the way he plays, or to the way he wants his team to play, not get his team to play to counter the opposition. Whereas Cameron Ciraldo will come up with a specific plan and with the specific, or find the specific weakness for every team that we verse. And it's just so impressive as a fan to see. So that's sort of my opinion sort of on that. What are your thoughts on that, Zatar?
I don't know. My name was Zatar, but anyways.
Sorry, I'm reading the message that Zatar put. So, Divo, what do you reckon, Divo?
Sorry. Zatar's probably sitting there. Oh, man, whoever that guy is growing a big head, honestly.
Apologies about that.
You know what? In regards to set plays by the coach or good footy IQ, they need to go hand in hand. So you need to play what's in front of you.
Yeah.
But anyone that says set plays don't work, got no idea. There is set plays that do work. So you got to definitely always have a set play, whether it comes off or not. You got to actually have that in your repertoire. Whether you try it you get 6 tackles a set, you can try it once or twice a set. You can do a whole set that's all set plays, or you can just play what's in front of you. You got to mix it up. You can't just be predictable. Some set plays absolutely they got their use, whether it's pinching meters, whether it's unsettling the defense. They all got their use, whether it's used to confound the opponent, all got their use. Honestly, I'm a big proponent of both mixed together. I'll tell you, if you have set plays, you become predictable. If you have,
100%.
if you play what's only in front of you, then honestly,
You can't break down good defenses.
it's not that. It's just sometimes you need structure. You know, like you need a what's it called? A set, if they call it. You know, you get the whole structured set. So sometimes for the boys that have played footy, where's John Sard? I don't know where he is. But anyway, I'm sure 90% of you have played footy for some club level. So growing up, they'll teach you, for example, if, you know, receive the ball, say they kick to the corner, they want the wingers to bring the ball up to the middle. So say they kick it to the 40-20 wing, bring the ball to the middle, you know. And then let's say it'll be 2 scoots out of dummy half, tackle 3. They'll go like a +2 for the 4th. And then the 5th, they might do a set play and then aim for the 6th tackle, bomb it down, field territory, you know. You need that sometimes, you know. Sometimes you'll pick up the ball, you'll have a good defensive set, you know, and they've mucked their kick. You'll get the ball on your 40. So then all of a sudden, you'll go probably bang, prop +1, prop +2. Then you'll go a +2 or +3. So prop the second row to maybe link up an under with the back, for example. And then you might go a +2 up the middle maybe and set up for a crossfield kick. Or, you know, you have your set play out wide and, you know, try to run some block plays and get an overlap. You know, those sort of things. It works sometimes. And obviously there's times you got to play what's in front of you because sometimes they can read your plays, your set plays. They've gotten used to it. Or there's somebody that used to play for the club, knows how the coach is coaching, or used to be on the coaching staff. Got to mix it up.
And that's the great thing about, and that's the great thing about Seraldo, is, you know, he does mix it up and he finds chinks in every team's armor. And again, like, you know, this guy...
Cam Seraldo... People forget he was a former player. And you know
wasn't
what?
a great player.
No, it was actually, you know what? He could have been a great player. But...
I'm just saying he didn't achieve the accolades.
You know, he actually had the attributes. He actually did. Obviously, concussions, a bit of injuries here and there. Copped some injuries and concussions. He had the attributes to be a really good player. That's why a few clubs were keen on him. But if you speak to a lot of former players or players that played with him and that, even going back then, he was actually he was more intelligent than your average footy player. He's more intelligent than your average footy player. And I think he kind of like knew his career path was going to be into coaching. So he observed more than your usual battering rams that went out there to get a paycheck. With the boys and couldn't care about, you know, all the 1%ers or the intricate stuff that goes around coaching and maybe play or just attention to detail, those sort of things. So he's been through it all. He's played with some of the greats of the past that are, you know, I think some might even still be playing now. So he's got the pedigree. He's been around for a while. He's not just some fluky guy that's been parachuted into the Bulldogs stuff because he was an assistant at Penrith. No, he's got the pedigree.
He had the pedigree, and they put their trust in him. And look, a couple of want to give a shout out to Everin and Living Life, and who else is in here? Norm. We've said hello. Doggies for life. You know, everybody that's here. David.
G'day, Dave.
Welcome, David. And so, you know, a couple of things that are being talked about. Overall, I thought Galvin was great. It will be interesting to see where he does get named when Burton's back. I don't really want to think about it because I don't know where he goes. I mean, I think the 7 and 6 needs still to be Burton. I think Burton and Sexton. I think Marnie needs to stay there. And look, I disagree about some of the talk about Reid not passing it to Galvin. I honestly think that's just conspiratorial talk. I don't buy into it even in the slightest.
Watch this space.
What space is that?
No, I'm just saying. I'm talking. David, look. Obviously, Turbin's not in your best 17. He's not even in your best 20. So, you know, yeah, I was actually a bit surprised.
I think Sexton is, you know, as Zatar is saying here, I do think Sexton did demand the ball a lot more, and I do think that there was instruction.
All of a sudden?
No, I don't think it's all of a sudden, though. If you remember, one of the issues or one of the things that he does do well is that he does talk, right? That's his issue was either defense or not sticking to the game plan, but it was never his ability not to speak. And Galvin's still a young dude, softly spoken. You know, and even Seraldo said that.
Yeah. You know, I'll give Sexton... You know what, Sexton? I've likened him to Noel Goldthorpe, right? And that try
Bro,
he
you
scored,
mentioned Noel Goldthorpe. Strat easy with Noel Goldthorpe, brother. Get over
I'll
it.
point out something. And there's a try that St. George actually scored about against Canterbury in the finals about 3 decades. Did you see how Sexton scored that try? He started it. He went to go
And he
kick,
ended it, yeah.
shaped it, went through. And then, if you go back about over 3 decades ago, Noel Goldthorpe in the finals against Canterbury in 93 scored a very similar try. I couldn't help but smile and laugh to myself. Sexton doesn't need to be the superstar of the team. Do what he's doing. I got a feeling if everyone keeps performing, Galvin will probably be on the bench for the rest of the year, but he'll play good minutes, and I can see probably Sexton then going into hooker for Marnie to come off. You know what? Not bad,
Yeah,
because
100%.
Sexton does defend decently, and I find he gives better service out of dummy half. Anyway, that's my opinion.
And look, I think that's probably how it's going to go. And so one of the discussion points here is that, Dave is saying his team selections are still crap. Turpin, WTF? I do understand.
Any other hookers?
We got a couple of young dudes.
Can he blood them, or he's not allowed to?
I don't think they're ready. But to be honest, I don't think we need them. What I think he's building towards is having 2 utilities on the bench. So we had both Blake Taff and Jake Turpin on the bench.
Yep.
And so when Burden comes back, it's going to be Burden and Sexton at 6 and 7, and then you've got Marnie at 9. You're going to have Man coming off the bench for lock, and then you're going to have Galvin on the bench as well. And so we're going to have 2 utilities and 2 forwards on the bench. Like, I didn't get it. He dropped Hot Boy, who has been fantastic, for Blake Taff. Bro, it didn't make any sense to me.
I told you, he's the Bermuda Triangle. I cannot work out Canterbury.
Doing, bro? And you know what? We came out.
Yeah. I look at your bench. Where are the big boppers? Hey, Lippo Hot Boy's had a good run.
He's had a great run. Sam Hughes not chosen, even though he played against the Dolphins.
What a luxury!
It's great.
Luxury.
But then he went with Lauren and Hayes.
Sluka was good in that. Sluka Feta was good in that opening 20 till the Storm.
He needs more than 20 minutes though. He needs more than 20 minutes to be really honest.
I'm just saying, he had a good start to the game. Your forwards were doing well, and then I thought, you know what? Sluka Feta stays justified this selection. You know what? And he's blowing him away, but. Honestly, I'll be happy with the 2 points. I didn't think Canterbury was bad at all. It's just such a hard, tricky game with that stoppage.
100%. And look, to be honest, everyone's ripping on Turpin. I reckon the only reason Turpin shouldn't be in that team is because of his haircut. Bro, it's the worst haircut I've ever seen. And there have been some bad haircuts in rugby league. Let me tell you, there have been some shit haircuts in rugby league. But
they all seem to play for Canterbury.
Haircut, bro. Oh, bro, it's such a bad haircut. Do you know who else has got a really bad haircut? Do you know who else has a bad haircut but doesn't cop it? I'm telling you, No. We'll get to Kyle Flanagan. You can have your rant about Kyle soon. Do you know who has a really bro? I reckon Max King has a bad haircut.
He's just got a bad head.
Yeah, no. And look,
I swear, have you seen old photos of his grandfather? That was just a typical 60s old Beatles style hairdo. Must be just a bad head. Sorry, Max King, if you're watching, we love you.
I love Max King. I just think his haircut, it looks like one of those old Fryer boys. If you look at like old TV shows.
That's what I mean. Have you seen photos of his grandfather in the 60s?
No, I haven't, to be honest.
George? It's like those old Beatles sort of. He had that classic, comb over sort of.
Yeah.
Anyways.
And look, I think Turpin is probably not matching the style of play the club is playing. He came on a bit too aggressively, which was disappointing. Got sin bin, copped a penalty, eye gouge or whatever. Not an eye gouge, but did an eye poke. And it's disappointing because I think that there are younger players we could probably blood rather than having him in the team. I thought we could have had 3 big boys on the bench instead of having either Blake Taff or Turpin. But look, to be honest, I'm not going to complain because he's doing very well. Turpin's doing very, very well. Sorry, Seraldo is doing very well. His selections so far have been great. When you chose Hot Boy at prop, we all questioned it. And then, he came out and he played great. Hayes, the beginning of the year, we didn't think he'd be, a mainstay on the bench. He's coming out playing great. So look, as much as you want to talk about Seraldo's selections, you sort of have to trust the bloke because he's doing a great job. And so for me, yeah, I'll complain a little bit, but I think he's doing a fantastic job. And there's really no complaints from me, to be honest, because again, I don't see and we don't see what the coach sees, and there must be a reason why he's selecting one player over another. I thought also quick shout. I thought Preston had a really good game back. He made a couple of crucial tackles, but Connor Tracy, that game, one of the things that I need to give credit to Tracy for is dude was starting every set for us on like the 30-meter line. No kidding. The dude was just getting the ball every set and finding, first play was always on the 30-meter line. He's fantastic. He's always got either a line break assist or a try assist or a tackle break assist every single game. He averages about 210 meters. He's got so many touches every single game. And, a lot of people are saying, can we win the grand final? Can we win a grand final with him? I think we can. I think we definitely can win the grand final with Tracy at fullback, as long as he doesn't have a shocker, as long as he, holds the ball. I think, with Galvin at 7, Burton at 6, and the team humming along, I don't see why someone like Tracy would be a hindrance to the Bulldogs winning a grand final. I've said it. I think we can win a grand final with Connor Tracy. What do you think? What do you think, Dibbo?
Well, what day was it? On about Sunday evening, I was telling my mate Zahead, what time are we going to Belmore to go to the Bulldogs sports store, so we can quietly jump on the bandwagon without anyone else realising. I think we're starting to get really concerned, with the way the Dogs are trudging along and winning without playing spectacular, So
winning ugly, yeah.
No, I wouldn't call it ugly, but they're winning. They're not flexing their muscles yet. So yeah, it's crazy. Like other sides are on the improve as well, but it's just like, I was just telling him on Sunday evening, so we're going to the Bulldogs sports store to go pick up some merchandise.
I wanted to ask you guys, what did you guys think? I'm actually going to put up a poll. What did you guys think of the 1995 commemorative jersey? Debo, did you have a look at that new jersey?
Sexy. Wow, that was sexy.
I loved it, but I know there are some people who don't like. I've actually ordered one.
What is there not to like about it? Honestly, that is the sexiest jersey out there. Like, remember the Hyundai, and then you know what's mad? You pointed it out. They've changed their format, Laundy, to match Hyundai.
Yeah, the font looks so good. Like
how good was that? That was fantastic. Oh, I loved it. I'm going to get a yes.
It was. I thought.
If you're going to vote no.
I love it. Honestly, as soon as I saw it, I was like, I bought 2 jerseys in like 4 days. And I'm just like, it is what it is.
What a sexy jersey, honestly. You know what? They should wear that jersey for the rest of the year, are they?
Oh, no, they're only going to wear it at Allianz Stadium.
Against Manly?
Yeah, against Manly. Because of the...
They should wear it against the Dragons, because they played the Dragons in the 95 quarterfinal.
Yeah, true. But
they should wear it. That was a sexy jersey. The blue shorts with that jersey. Oh, honestly, doing themselves a disservice. Like the current jerseys they're wearing now, both of them are really nice. Even the blood and bandages one in blue and white. But that one, I reckon wear it for the final series. Channel the 95 Bulldogs. Darren Brick. Who remembers Darren Brick?
I love it, man.
It was some good teams, man. 95 Bulldogs. John Tebu, the former All Black. Who remembers the former All Black you guys had?
Yeah. Can you guys see it? That's the jersey.
You guys had Darryl Halligan. Hey, Jamie, I did. The co-host, when I asked him, it's in the wash. You think he would have jumped off his chair, ran, probably screamed abuse at his wife to get it cleaned up ASAP, straight in the clothes.
I did not. I did nothing. You're a filthy Dragon supporter. I don't want you wearing the Bulldogs jersey.
That's what his response was. He's like, you know what? I don't want you besmirching our blue and white.
Jamie with a $20 super chat. Thank you, man. We really appreciate it, bro. Thank you so much for your support.
Love you,
look,
Jamie.
We've got 50 people in here. While you're here, give us a thumbs up. Be sure to subscribe to us. If you are sitting in the background, just enjoying your time, just send us a quick hello, send us a quick message, vote in the poll.
Yeah. Just want to ask Jamie, what game are you? I think Jamie said he was coming down for a game this year.
Yeah, let us know. Maybe we can organize a.
I want to organize I want to organize a podcast catch up.
Yeah, let's do it. Actually, you know what I'm
do a dinner somewhere. I got Jamie covered. Sorry, guys. Or I got Normita covered as well. Seeing he's always having a go at me, but yeah.
There's a question here I actually want to discuss. Eddie Abs is asking, are we purposely holding back and not redlining like the Raiders? I think it's a good question. What my opinion, honestly, my opinion is that in some ways, I do think that Seraldo is allowing us to build slowly, and so he's giving some players opportunities. And like Hotboy, for example, one of the reasons I think Hotboy didn't play this week is he wants to give him a break so that at the back end of the season he's not exhausted, and we have some fresh legs. Sam Hughes as well. I feel like he wants Sam Hughes to build up his fitness so that when we do need him in the back end of the year, he's got the fitness. So it's not like purposely holding back, but I feel like Seraldo is giving a lot of people an opportunity to play, and he's testing out a lot of different methods and a lot of different team combinations to ensure that we have some fresh legs come the end of the year. So it's not that we're purposely holding back. I also feel like in most cases we've only done enough to win. We haven't needed to redline, I don't feel. And like, other than our 2 losses, I feel like no team's really pushed us to the limit. Like, a lot of our wins haven't been ones where we've needed to, or we've feared that we're going to lose. You know what I mean? It's either we've won comfortably or we've gotten smashed. I feel like there's no in between here at the moment. And so we haven't, honestly, I don't feel like we've really been pushed. Like every time we first, some good team, we've smashed them. Every time we've faced, the Sharks, for example, they're supposed to be a contender. We've done away with them. The only team that really gave us any trouble were the Raiders. And then we beat them by 12. Actually, the Roosters. Peter G's pointed out the Roosters. That's a good one. I actually forgot about the Roosters, actually. Yeah, that's a good point. Actually. But I thought we were very below par. Like, we haven't really hit our straps. It's a good point. But yeah, I think the point still holds is that we haven't really needed to push for 80 minutes, and we haven't really hit our straps even in attack. And I feel like now that Galvin's there, it's going to take us a few more weeks till we get to our peak in attack. So I don't think it's purposely holding back, but I also think it's purposely not going to the extreme, if that makes sense. I don't know. I feel like I'm waffling on a little bit, but it makes sense in my head. What do you think, Dib? Do you think that the coach is purposely holding back?
I think the coach will be happy that he's not getting the credit or the accolades you guys deserve, honestly. I don't think he's holding back. I think he's holding back, no. I think he's happy how things are working out. Like, he's got his challenges. He hasn't made any excuses. That's what I love about him. He deals with it. All right, we got smashed this week. Oh, the weather was off. All right.
Oh, the coach
we didn't play to our best of our ability.
The
he doesn't sit there. Yeah. It's just these guys are playing well. I can't, and then he gets the luxury of players making reps. Beautiful. He gets the blood, some players. Obviously, there was some untimely suspensions. Did you hear him complain? All right, we lost players suspension. It might be some of those suspensions were bullshit. We know that, like, for example, Preston's. And obviously he was annoyed with that, and rightfully so. But went about his business. Well, I got a 30-man squad. What is it, 30-man squad these days? 35, whatever. I got top 25. I can use them now. They're in there for a reason. There's guys that would make first grade at a lot of other clubs.
100%.
If this guy wasn't playing red hot, it'd be my 17. Bang, in you go.
Yeah, so it's a great point.
And can I just point out something? So let's say St. George wins 2 or 3 games in a row. You'll get the media. They'll come out and they'll have an orgasm and they'll froth over. Oh, the Dragons are running red hot. They're 3 in a row. They're now made 8th spot. They're playing red hot. Canterbury are 11-2, top of the table, and honestly, go read all the media reports this year, and no one's glazed over them, no one's frothed over them, and I can guarantee you, Phil Gould, Cameron Ciraldo, Druisi, former players, current players, captain Crichton, anyone there doesn't even care. It's not affected them. That's the beauty about it. You know, I'll tell you now, they're probably happier that the heat is not on them, because you know who the heat is on now? If you read the reports, a lot of journalists are just haters. But, based on this draw, Canberra's going to finish with the minor premiership because they still got 2 buys, you know. Like, you know, Canterbury doesn't get given any credit. They're top of the table, and here they are openly talking that Canberra's going to get the minor premiership. You know, who's to say Canberra's going to beat St. George? I reckon Canberra will struggle more against St. George than would, for example, against Melbourne. You know, it's just styles makes games sometimes. That's how it is.
I agree with you.
I knew straight away. I'll tell you now, I knew straight away the Dolphins are going to blow St. George away. That's why I was going Dolphins 2030. You know, and that was despite St. George the previous week. For example, I thought St. George would have a close game against Melbourne. Honestly, I did. You know?
Yeah, I tipped them. Actually,
yeah, you did. You know, and the Dragons beat, who did the Dragons beat the other week? Well, they struggled against Newcastle, and then they beat Manly. I tipped them against Manly, incidentally. You know, but I don't think the Dolphins would blow Manly away. Manly got some of those speedsters. Saab, Hopewadi.
Manly's done for, bro. Manly's done.
I know, but they wouldn't. Manly's got that style that foils the Dolphins, for example. You know?
Well, I mean, you're right. Look, styles do make games. But I want to address something.
Honestly, if anything, the media has every right to talk up Canterbury. And
we've got to go under the radar, bro.
You know what? I'll be happy. The pressure's not on me now.
100%.
If anything, the attention's away from me. I'd be happy. Thank God. No one's given us a chance. No one's given us it's more fuel to the fire.
I want to quickly address this by Dave. Elmer, you get a little bit exuberant for June. I think our performance for the year is good, but it is not great. Great was 2002 when we won 17 in a row.
17 in a row. Come on. You know what, Dave, can I just point out something? Look at the players, 2002, look at the players he's had then. And don't forget, Canterbury for years had been doing well. Canterbury since 2017, Elmo?
Yeah.
He's picked up, what, 2 wooden spoons?
One, and then like 2, a second last and a third last. Or anyway, right? Up till last year, he's finishing the last literally 7 seasons in the bottom 4. Something like that anyways. Might not be accurate, but he's at the foot of the table, right? Around there. And he's lost a lot of players. There was no established names. It was pretty much a rebuild. Bloody oath. For 7 years, Dave, there was just misery. You know, when's this misery going to end? 7 years or 6 years, 7 years. You know, that's why Dave, he's exuberant. I want to share something. All right. I have to show this. I want you to look at the date.
This hasn't got over it.
No. I need to point this out.
Do you remember that?
I want to point this out. Yeah.
I'll never forget that.
I want you to look at this, right? So the Bulldogs, it lost 66-0 against a fairly shit Knights team.
I want to take a photo.
It's almost exactly 2 years ago. 2nd of July, 2023, right? We are right now 17th of June, 2025. It's less than 2 years. It's been less than 2 years. Right? We've gone from getting smashed 66-0 by a fairly average Knights team and playing them into form to being top of the table, losing only 2 games. Come round 15, round 16, we're going to have only lost 2 games. We are the club that everybody wants to join. Galvin, Finau Latu, Leo Thompson. There's other players that want to come to us that I can't even tell you guys about, that I know of, and they're willing to take pay cuts to come to us. So, excuse me if I get a little bit exuberant, but we've gone from being a laughing stock where we can't defend against a very average Knights team to the team where Everyone wants to come to us. We win scrappy. We win well. We can come from behind. We've got players. We've got a strong top 30, not a strong top 17. The turnaround is incredible, and by all accounts, right? By all accounts, we were not supposed to be first or in the top 4 in 2025. Our premiership window wasn't until 2026. Ask anyone in the club. That's what they were saying.
We were saying you'd make the finals this year, not last year. So, yeah, that's accurate.
Right? We made the finals 1 year early. We're in the top 4 1 year early, right? So when I'm exuberant, it's because we've lost 2 games. 2 games in 16 this. But that makes me very happy as a Dog supporter. We've lost 2 games in 16 weeks. I don't know what it feels like to lose. Right?
Good feeling.
I know it's cocky. I get it. I accept that it's cocky. I do. But you got to understand, 16 weeks with only 2 losses. It's remarkable to be where we are right now from 2 years ago. This is not even 2 years ago. It's not even a full 24 months. Not only has the club turned itself around, both on the field and off the field, but everyone envies us. Our defense, our attack. The brightest young half in the game left his club and came to us. Right?
You guys also signed Fitzgibbon.
We've signed one of Ennis's kids. We've signed Craig Fitzgibbon's son, right?
Yep.
And so, yes, it's June. But yes, I'm exuberant. People are saying, the Raiders are going to get the minor premiership. What have we done to show that we're going to fade? I don't know. All I've seen is we're actually playing very well in a variety of different scenarios. We come from behind and win. We win scrappy. We win well. When our team's there and we're focused, we win hard. We win strong. We can put on big scores. We can keep teams scoreless. We can score big points. I haven't seen anything to suggest that we're going to fade. And you know what's interesting as well, right? Is that we've had a lot of suspensions and injuries. The Bulldogs have had 19 weeks worth of suspensions in 2025. 19 weeks. 19 weeks worth of suspensions. The closest club to us was the Panthers with 7. So we've had 19 weeks of suspension. The closest other team has had 7, and that's the Panthers. We've had a whole array of injuries. Jack Todd, Sitili Tupanua. We've had Sam Hughes. We've had Inari Tuala, Jacob Kiras. The list can go on and on. We haven't played from 1 to 17 at full strength. To be honest, we have so many options. I don't know what our top 17 looks like. If you can tell me what our top 17 looks like, I'll do anything. But you don't even know what our top 17... No one knows. That's how good the Dogs are going. So when you tell me that I'm a little bit exuberant in June, I am, 100%. But I know that you have to remember where we've come from. We've come from the doldrums. We've come from the absolute doldrums. And so when my team is doing well, when Burton is in career best form, Kickout in career best form, Crichton in career best form, even though he's won 3 premierships before he came to the Dogs, right? Kiraz playing out of his skin, called into the Blues. Preston called into the Blues. Kingy called into the Blues. Tracy playing like a natural fullback. We got Galvin. Sexton, he's got competition for his position. Yeah? Sorry, if we don't get exuberant now, we're not Doggies fans. If we don't get exuberant now, we might as well go bury our heads in the sand. Because this is our time. This is Doggies' time. Why are we fans? Like, what am I here to sit here and be analytical and technical? No, I'm here to talk shit. I'm here to have a laugh. I'm here to hang out with mates. And when my team's going well, it's the only time in my life that I think arrogance is acceptable. Because it's footy. It doesn't really mean much. Like, I'm not going to sit there and be arrogant about, oh, look at me, I make money, or look at me, I'm handsome. Like, no one cares about that shit. When it comes to footy, you're allowed that little bit of arrogance. You're allowed that little bit of pride, because it's not soul destroying. It's just a game. And so, you know what? Yes, I'm exuberant. Yes, I'm cocky. Yes, but the Dogs, they deserve to be where they are. And you know what? We're going to win them on a premiership. We're going to win them on a premiership. The Raiders are going to do well. They'll probably be second or third, but they're going to fade. Nothing at all shows me that the Dogs are fading. Everyone's waiting for us to fade. Everyone's waiting for us to fall off a cliff. But we win scrappy, we win shit, we win well. There's just so many positives for us to look at. And if I tell you the kind of discussions that are happening, like in the background of the club, the amount of things that are positively happening in the club, I can't divulge this stuff, but believe me, the Dogs are killing it and they deserve to be. And so, yes, I'm exuberant. Eels, we hadn't beaten them in ages. We've beaten them twice. Rabbitohs, we hadn't beaten them twice in 1 year since 2012. We've beaten them twice. We kept them scoreless. Knights, they haven't beaten us since 2023. Since 2023, I think the Knights have only scored like 4 or 5 tries against us, and we've scored like 200 points. So yeah, exuberant, yes, excited, yes, cocky, yes, having a bit of a laugh, yes, I love it. This is what it's about. Otherwise, what the hell am I doing here? You know what I mean? What are we doing here? Like, you know how that Dragon supporter crashes out? I don't know. What's the opposite of crashing out? I don't know. It is what it is. Like, I just think that the Dogs are doing well. That was my positive rant, actually. Not a negative one. That was a positive rant.
Set off a firecracker. Wow.
Yeah.
They struck a chord.
Sorry, boys. David, that was not aimed at you or anything like that. I was just responding.
I haven't seen any life from David since he set you off, so something's happened.
Sorry, Dave.
Somebody better check up on David.
But yeah, there is there is a lot happening. Very quickly, MKTV has given us a $7.99 super chat. Thank you very much, MK. We appreciate it. We love you.
Hopefully 50 plus.
We love all your support. So final thoughts.
Dave's back.
Final thoughts on that on that Rabbitohs game. It was disappointing. Didn't feel like a super successful win, but I was happy with it. It is what it is. We'll move on. We'll get our guys back. We'll verse the Panthers in Parramatta at CommBank with their full complement. We'll have our full complement, and I think we win well. But yeah, they're my final thoughts. What are your final thoughts, Dibbo? Just quickly.
On the Dogs vs Rabbits?
Yeah.
Oh, fantastic start. Made very difficult with that storm interruption. Kicked away, let them come back within a try. I gave them a B. So it's not a bad performance, actually.
I'll give them a B minus.
Got the desired result, 2 points. The scoreline was flattering. I thought it probably deserved 2 tries at the end. I did tip the Rabbits by 4, so I did tip a tight game. Dogs horrible. Just blew them away at the start. Horrible. So it was good.
How dare you? Anyway, I'm not going to rant about you picking the Rabbitohs. Quickly, I want to get on to Origin talk. So a couple of quick updates. Obviously, earlier in the week, Kiraz was sent or was in the training with the team in case To'o injured his hamstring, and so Kiraz would have replaced To'o on that left wing, which I think is very, very exciting. I think it's fantastic. And it's exciting to see that our players are getting mentioned in that arena. Preston obviously flew over to Perth yesterday to join the team as 20th man because Keon Kolomatangi did cop an injury, and so he'll be out for 4 or 5 weeks, so he can't take his place there. So Preston was called in. As we know, Burton is 18th man. Look, the rules are shit. It is what it is. It is like the 4th time now that he's been 18th man, but look, he's in that arena. He's there on the bench, 18th man. If we get a big win, he's going to be part of that win. And
you know what?
It's all right.
He's made $100,000 just sitting on the bench, just watching from the game. Imagine getting paid to watch a game. So if he's 18th man for the 3rd game, it's $150,000. Some players make a whole year that he's made in 3 games, just sitting on the sideline. Wow. Anyways, it's his talent that got him there.
Yeah. Overall, I think that Queensland have no idea what they're doing. I think that Queensland have made some really poor decisions. In terms of him choosing Capewell, starting Trent Loiero, having Nene and Carrigan on the bench, choosing Dearden as 7. I just think that he's the Brad Fittler of Queensland. You know, he's come out and responded to Woodsy, Aaron Woods, with some bullshit about
You know,
responsibility. Like, bro, get out of here.
you know
You
what? I'll
fucking
tell you what, man. Like Slater's got a tough. I think he just doesn't. It's weird. I think he's just got a talent vacuum all of a sudden. I mean, who else was he going to really pick for Queensland? There's a few players here and there, of course. But if anything, the way to go is just start blooding the new generation. Robert Toyer was a good selection in the centres in game 1. He's only 20 years old. But Slater's got it. I think they're going to lose the next few series at least, maybe 4 or 5. We'll get the players New South Wales
There's a
got
big
at their
chance there,
disposal.
yeah. I'm with you.
All of a
100%.
sudden, you know. Barring another Queensland referee, New South Wales should win about 5 in a row at least.
Like having Toyers there, look, I get it, but then you've got like Talangi from the Cowboys, who's still fairly young, right? You could have had Hammer in the centers, and you could have had Talangi on the wing. But now that Toy is going to be coming up against a very fast track in Perth against a determined Latrell, who I feel also combines very well with Luai, interestingly, and then also Angus Crichton. So that's going to be a tough ask for him there. The other thing for me for Queensland is I just don't think Dearden's a 7. I get that you want the competitiveness, but you need to be able to guide a team around the park as a 7. Munster's, I mean, is Munster going to be doing that?
Isn't Munster 31 next year?
Well, I mean, but I mean, he's still a 6. He's running
starting.
6.
I think he's starting to get a bit of decline. Munster. I think
he hasn't been in great
form. He was at his peak
for the
2
Storm.
years ago, that hip injury, but still doing good. Just not. I don't think he'll hit the heights of years ago. He's now 30, will be 31 next year. His body's copped a fair bit. Obviously, not helped by how he used to diet and drink and all that. But I think he's still got a lot of good in him. But 31 had a bit of a hip issue, so I don't think we'll see the peak of him again.
Played until this year. He's now 30, almost 37.
He's he's one of those genetic freaks. You know, he's got that skinny build, tall. You know, he's looked after himself.
But then even for props and second rows, they could have had. Look, there's Frank Molo, Josh Kerr. You've got Josh Papali'i. You've got Corey Horsburgh. See, if you chose 2 of those 4, the thing they add is size, and size is what Queensland are missing.
Papali'i, now he's retired from rep footy. He retired, I think. Could have kept going, but retired.
He could. I mean, if Slater called him and said, "Hey, I need," let's say they go with Molo and Horsburgh. At least they add size and aggression. Trent Liero doesn't have aggression. He doesn't have size. All right, he's got some fitness, but I just don't think he adds he's not an origin style player. That's the first thing. And then you've got Kurt Capo, who doesn't, he's got the most missed tackles in the competition by far. He's got the most missed tackles in the competition.
More than money.
More than anyone in the competition. He's got the most missed tackles in the competition. He doesn't really add that much in attack, right? Doesn't add that much in attack. And then you think about who he's coming up against in Liam Martin and Angus Crichton. It just doesn't, it doesn't, what, I don't get what he's trying to achieve. And then he's got Carrigan coming off the bench with Nene. I do get it, but I just don't, for me, they don't have a proper 7. And ultimately, they just can't get around the park like they would like to. Everyone's saying, oh, Queensland's going to fire up, Queensland this, Queensland that. Bro, the Queensland that we know of from the last 10, 15 years, they don't exist anymore. That team had 5, 6 immortals in it. This team is a bunch of pussies. I think the Blues are going to blow them away. The Blues are going to win and win well. Sure, Queensland will come out hard in the first 20 minutes, but we just have a much, much better team overall, Dibbo.
They're still very capable, Queensland. There's a lot of series or games they won and they should have been blown off the park by 20, 30 points. I never show them the disrespect. Never. All I give them is respect because going back over the last 45 years, we know what they're truly capable of. And now is not the time to disrespect them. or underestimate them. So I do expect New South Wales to still, I still think, we can win comfortably tomorrow, and I still think Game 3 will be a sellout because New South Wales will be aiming to go 3-0. It's been a very long time since we had a 3-0 sweep. I think it's since 2000. It's been 25 years. So it'd be nice to get a clean sweep. It's in Perth. Anything's possible. You can end up getting Hammer scoring a double just out of thin air. Anything's possible, man. If you switch off in that arena, you'll pay the price. And New South Wales for years were known to be mentally more fragile or switching off or getting cocky, and it cost them games and series. So not going to underestimate Queensland. Never do.
Look, you say that, but then you think on the other side, we've got Latrell, who can just as easily score 2 or 3 tries on his own in 5 minutes like that.
Of course, but I'm just saying.
Right? You've got Luai. You've got, Dylan Edwards. Then you've got Payne Haas. You've got, you've got Isaiah Yeo. Then you've got Spencer Leniu. Right?
I'm not dismissing their ability. I'm merely stating you switch off and they'll punish you.
I just think that the sum of the parts of Queensland are just not good enough. So sometimes a team is greater than the sum of its parts, but that sum is just not good enough.
He's got a talent drain at the moment, so they really need to start blooding the next generation. Concede the series, concede it. Honestly, especially if they lose tomorrow, Game 3, blood about 8-9 debutants, I reckon. Blood them. There's some good youngsters coming through, but he's got a talent drain at the moment.
Here's my hot take: if Queensland lose tomorrow, the Queenslanders are going to come out and say Origin is dead because they are a bunch of pussy sooks. Right? Billy Slater's having a bit of a sook, bro, because he was called the grub. And let me be honest, Billy Slater is a grub.
Spy.
Billy Slater was a grub, right?
I love Billy.
Billy Slater was one of the biggest grubs. It was an amazing player, one of the best fullbacks to ever play the game. Yeah?
I love him as a person.
But he was a grub when he played. And now he's trying to talk about Paul Green now that Woodsy made this comment.
That's a shit take. Out of here. Yeah, that was a shit angle to take. Very shit.
What is he talking about, bro? Oh, bro. Honestly. Get the F out of here, dude. You're talking much crap.
In terms of him being a grub, when he played, yeah, he was. Remember when he used to lead with his studs? Do you remember that?
Oh, yeah, when he used to come in with the knees.
Package, disgusting. But
the chicken wing, when he come in with the knees.
I don't know, especially with the leading with his boots. Remember how many times he led with his boots into players? Should have cut 2 weeks suspension for every offense, every time. It took him, honestly, the better part of over a decade to finally clamp down on him, which was ridiculous. Other than that, I like him as a person. I love his input on Channel 9. I think
great commentator.
Then, I think I'll be honest, I think I would have played the game the same way. So me being a hypocrite here, I would have probably played the game the same way. And I love watching him play. He was an absolute star, besides the grubby stuff he used to do.
Yeah, it was amazing. 100%. But don't deny that you're a grub, because you were a grub. And so for him to come out with this bullshit talking about Paul Green, bro, don't bring up the memory of Paul Green, a dude who lost his life tragically because you want to score some points. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't. He was saying it was about to cry, bro. Get the hell out of here. These stupid Queenslanders always want to make it like about them. Get out of here. Anyway. Honestly, I reckon the Blues are gonna win 38-14. I don't see where Queensland score. I don't see where their points come from.
Honestly, there's one guy I want to be man. I want man of the match tomorrow. One guy.
Who's that?
Nathan Cleary. I want to see him absolutely annihilate him. I want to see him win a Clive Churchill. He's won a Clive. I want to see him win the Daily M medal. There's things that he should have in his trophy cap.
Isn't the Mel?
No, I'm just saying. I just want to see him dominate a season where he's not interrupted by injury or suspension or by some fluke. Someone like Nico Hines wins the Daily M, which was a mistake. For example, you get me. I want to see someone like Nathan Cleary get the accolades he deserves. And what's it called? Just win all the awards on show, because I still think Cleary's underappreciated or doesn't get the accolades he deserves. And they're going to point out, he hasn't dominated the Orange Series. He doesn't have a Daily M. Honestly, I feel like people like Jonathan Thurston, good, but I think overdone.
So you think that Cleary will be your man of the match?
I want him to, yeah. I want Cleary to get it. He's been our good guy for so long,
I reckon. I actually think Critter is going to be. Look, it's either going to be Critter.
I'd love that. Yeah, especially
It's
his
gonna be-
performance from game one.
Yeah, 100%.
Deserves it.
It'll either
He
be
deserve it.
Critter or Latrell. I think they're going to come up with some big plays, and I think someone like Valentine Holmes he's gonna get absolutely torched by Critter because he's going to be defending up against him. I think, if I'm correct. He is because Toy will be up against Latrell Mitchell, so he's going to be up against Critter. I reckon Critter's going to absolutely torch him. He's going to be.
Sorry, I've missed honestly, I didn't really just show you how much I didn't care about Queensland's lineup. That's how dreadful they were in game one. So is Valentine Holmes playing in the centres?
Yeah, and they moved Hammer out to the wing.
I honestly didn't even look at it. Hammer will burn it on the wing, but I mean, they're going to probably try to use his pace, but and the way that
He's coming
Lomax
up against
defends,
Lomax.
Yeah, they'll try to use his pace to burn him with the kicks and that. If Edwards places himself well, then should be able to. Edwards ain't quick. They should be able to negate it. It will be interesting to see how they play it down that left side.
I think Lomax is a good defender. I think Lomax will put a couple of
Just
big shots on Hammer and keep him out of the game.
Yeah, lacks that punch of a pace because he's a big body.
Yeah, he's a very big body.
He could kill people. Yeah.
Yeah, I think Cleary's gonna have a really good game. I think Luai adds a little bit to the team that I think Moses doesn't. I think he's just got that niggle in him. He's got that rage in him that I think other teams or Moses doesn't have. Moses is great technically and everything, but I think Moses doesn't bring the intangibles that Luai brings. And I think that adds a lot, especially to the energy of Critter, to the energy of To'o, to the energy of Spencer. So I think he's going to bring a new energy. And I think, the Queenslanders, look, you can play with passion all you want, but when it comes down to it, man on man, the Blues are better than them in almost every single position.
Can we do a count? So let's just call them Penrith affiliated players. Edwards at the back.
Yeah.
To'o, Critter.
Yeah. Yep.
Hang on a sec. Luai, Cleary, that's 5.
Luai. Yep.
Yo, 6.
Yep.
And
Liam Martin, 7.
Yep. Anyone else? Oh, Spencer Leniu, 8.
Spencer Leniu.
Are we missing anyone?
Um,
Hang on a sec. Crichton, Haas. Who's our other prop king? Robson's the hooker. The bench.
Oh no, they've got Watson, Yuto Kamanu, Hudson Young, and
Spencer
Leniu.
All right,
Yeah, so
and if we go to 18th man, that's 9.
9, yeah.
That is the most I think Penrith have had players in one origin. I think this is going to be awesome because I think 2/3 of them are literally not at Penrith, or almost half of them aren't at Penrith anymore. So there's more flavour now, a bit of spice to it. We could be in for a nice one tomorrow. This is good.
Do you think they're going to kick off to Spencer?
Nah, they got no balls. They'll preserve themselves. They got no balls. Yeah, you see their response after game 1? Everyone saw it. It was embarrassing. At the top, you're in that professional era. I guarantee if it was Gordon Tallis playing in this era and he was busted and they're getting their ass kicked, he still would have wanted the ball to go to Spencer Leniu. As much as I think Gordon's a bonehead, he still would have wanted it with his opinions and that. He still would have wanted the ball to go to Spencer. It's the right thing to do. You're in that arena. You shouldn't be dodging anyone. You should be good enough to still take them on in all minutes.
I'll tell you right now, if they don't kick off to Spencer, they're going to lose the game. And I'll tell you why, because it sends a message that
he won't be starting though.
No, when he does come on, if they don't kick off to him immediately and hunt him, I'm telling you, it says that we are not courageous enough to take you on. I remember back in the day, the biggest thing about Origin was the kickoff and kicking it to the biggest man and the biggest man running down and meeting him.
Webke.
I remember some of those. Bro,
Webke wasn't the biggest.
Mason.
He was big. He was built close to the center of the ground. His gravity was low. It was about probably just under 6 foot or about 6 foot. But man, he was so hard to tackle. But he always got that first hit up, and they used to line him up.
Yeah,
that's how.
And it was mad.
Steve Harrigan, Spud.
Oh, bro, amazing. And you know what? Like Gordon Tallis is saying, they don't need to kick the Spencer. Gordon Tallis knows that he does. If he says that they should have kicked the Spencer, right? He knows he's going to embarrass Queensland. But deep down, he's burning that the Queensland is a bunch.
It's a fall from grace.
Honestly,
can you imagine Tallis, Sivanaseva, Hodges? Just those guys of yesteryear, Trevor Gilmore, they would have all been lining up to kill Spencer. All of them.
100%. And the only reason Tallis is saying they didn't need to kick to Spencer is to save face for the Queenslanders. But deep down, Gordon Tallis is like, we have a bunch of pussies. Our forwards are a bunch of pussies. That's what he's saying. If he could come out and say what he really thought, he'd be saying Queenslanders are a bunch of pussies. That's what he's saying deep down. And you know what? He keeps saying, oh, they don't need to kick to Spencer. Oh, why doesn't Spencer play 80 minutes? The bloke needs to get his head checked for CTE or some shit like that. Because the guy's incoherent most of the time. All he's there to do is to support Brisbane, right? All he's there to do is to take heat off Brisbane.
And pick fights.
And pick fights with incoherently, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Incoherently.
And he still lied to me when I went and played. He went to go get his signature off the bench almost 3 decades ago.
Actually, someone just reminded me, Norm Eder. It was a lot. I don't think it was Lockyer that kicked the ball in the air. It was Cameron Smith that kicked the ball to Luke O'Donnell so that they can bash Luke O'Donnell. Do you remember that? Luke
O'Donnell was an absolute beast. Do you remember that game? He must have. Do you remember in about 5 or 10 minutes, he must have dumped about 5 or 6 of their players?
He was a freak.
In the big hits.
He never took a step back. Yeah.
He was an animal. I remember in the sheds after a Roosters game. Oh, I remember seeing him without his jersey. Like, wow. Never took a step back. He had a rig
and
on
the Queenslanders were courageous. Queenslanders were courageous. And the Blues, for their credit, never, even though we couldn't win, we didn't have the talent, we never took a step back either.
No, you got that wrong. No, hang on a sec. Reverse that. In that same game, Ben Cray ran away.
Yeah.
Okay. But they disposed of him in a series later. So they got that.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. But you get what I'm saying, right? Like they weren't scared. They were fighting. And do you know, like, if this was,
can you imagine if Arthur Beetson was playing in today's game? He would have went to go take Spencer Lenny's head off. He couldn't care if he was going to get suspended for 2 months as long as he took his head off.
Even Mason, O'Mealy.
Yeah, Mason was scared of no one. O'Mealy was crazy. O'Mealy was crazy.
They put their bodies on the line. They didn't give a shit. Now, all of it. And the thing is, you know what burns me is that Spencer wants them to smash him. Spencer doesn't care. He wants them to smash him. He wants them to smash him. Like, bro, how much more of a taunt can you possibly want? He's telling them, send me the ball and come and smash me. I'm okay with that. They're like, no, we don't want you to run at us because you're going to smash us. Like, come on, dude. He's asking them to come and smash him. They're the ones defending. They should have the upper hand. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, I just think Queenslanders are finished. They dropped their captain. It reminds me of those early 2010s when the Blues would have, 5 halfbacks in one season in one Origin series.
Anyways, yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And so it's great to see. And I think tomorrow, it's we've played in Perth twice, and twice the Blues have won by 32 points. I reckon it's going to be similar. It's going to be similar. It's going to be very, very similar. Because this is like us. This is like when the Queenslanders would be taking on the Blues in the early 2010s. Everyone would be like, oh, the Blues are going to do this. The Blues are going to do that. But we know that the Blues didn't have a good enough team. And the Queenslanders know they don't have a good enough team. Why are we kidding ourselves? The Blues are going to mangle them. Laurie Daly is not the same coach he was ages ago. And he's got Craig Bellamy. You think they haven't accounted for everything? You think they don't know that the Queenslanders are going to come out on fire? The Blues are in for a big game. And I'm so excited to just see the Blues smash Queensland. I'm going to make my prediction. I'm going to say it's going to be 38-12 to the Blues. Man of the match, Critter. Give me yours.
24-14. For me, Cleary will be man of the match. Fuck, I love it if it would be a much bigger scoreline. Maybe New South Wales will let him score a few late tries, but let's just go 24-14. Might be fully off the mark. Probably should be 40-14, but
yeah, I think 40-14 makes more sense. Guys, we've got 44 people. Give us your thoughts on what you think the score is going to be and who you think man of the match is going to be for Origin Game 2 tomorrow. Please give this video a thumbs up. Please be sure to subscribe if you are in the background. I love hearing your thoughts. MKTV thinks it's going to be 22-12. Norm is saying 38-10. New South Wales Mitchell, man of the match. Live and Life is saying 39-16. That's a really strange score.
A drop goal to rub salt into the wounds, probably by Connor Watson. Yeah, why not?
Yeah, Connor Watson of all people.
Yeah, you can play halves. He's got the skill set.
You got Lomax, you got Cleary, you got Critter, you got so many others. Anyway,
That's an
Eddie
insult,
Abs.
Everin. 2 drop goals to make it 2 points. Wow. Anyways.
Eddie Abs saying 42-8. Critter, man of the match. 58-2. Zatra saying Max King, man of the match. Bro, imagine that.
Where's the Queens? Jamie Teasdale and somebody else. He's a Queensland fan. Fuck, I forgot. Someone was putting up before.
Yeah, I'm not sure who else is a Queensland.
No,
MKTV. MKTV's a
and I think
Queenslander
there was
as well.
one other one. Anyways.
Morris. I think Morris is a Queenslander.
Yeah, I think so. Anyway, he can come.
Doggy 71, 36-0. Critter, man of the match. Yeah, look, I'm telling you, like, Queensland will struggle tomorrow. That's genuinely what I think. I think Queensland will have a tough, rough go of it. It's gonna be so sweet watching them lose. Let me tell you, it's gonna be so sweet watching them lose. I'm gonna scream very loudly, very, very loudly tomorrow. Now, I do want to talk quickly about the Dragons' woes. I want to give you this chance to talk about the Dragons. Over to you.
I think everyone except for the father of the Holy Spirit, Kyle Flanagan, or the son, if we probably should say, father of the son, Kyle Flanagan, can see the problem was the halves and the Dragons, and it was something that was pointed out before the season kicked off. Last year, I've been called saying that the father will lose his job from behind him picking his son. And, it's just clear as day. We had a good half last year by the name of Jesse Marski. If you remember when Marski would play when Hunt was either injured or rep duty, I think the Dragons won most of their games. That Marski had pace on him, a kicking game. He's got a big boot. I wanted to see him and Hunt play together because Marski's a runner of the ball. He takes on the line. But for some reason, the son was the starting half. Marski never got to play with Hunt in the starting lineup at 6 and 7. And then obviously Marski left the club. Fast forward to this year, and Lachlan Ilias straight away gets made a scapegoat. And I'm thinking, well, what did your son even do in those games? He was actually worse in most of those games. And then Ilias is gone. King Toga has come in. And King Toga has actually played decently. In those games they won, Toga was pretty good. He's played some really good games. And it's funny, every time the Dragons would win, the father would give the credit to his son. And then this is probably the worst thing of hearing him say, the players think my son's one of the best players every week. Does it not occur to him the players are they going to tell him your son was one of the worst? Does it not occur to him that the players wouldn't tell that to him? Some players there don't want to upset the coach for fear of not getting picked. I guarantee it. It's a matter of just kissing ass to stay in that 17, basically. Anyways, he tried to fight back yesterday. Paul Crawley came up with a beauty of an article. He did 17 teams, 17 halfbacks, and literally the only one he could say that would challenge, Kyle Flanagan give a challenge was Jack Cogger, and he'd still choose Jack Cogger over him. And then went on to say basically there's halves that are waiting in the wings at other clubs that will still walk into the Dragons halfback position ahead of Kyle Flanagan. So the writing's on the wall. So they got Parramatta after the bye. And I think the best thing that could happen to the Dragons is they lose and his son does absolutely nothing. So either he will fall on his sword or he will have to put his son into reserve grade. Because I think Lachlan Ilias and King Toga are a better combination. If you look at Lachlan Ilias, since he's played reserve grade, I think they've won 7 in a row.
Yeah, they have.
7 in a row. I guarantee if you put Kyle Flanagan in reserve grade, they would have won 7 in a row. They'll probably have patchy form still. He can't even kick a ball properly. Have you seen how his kicking game is? Dreadful. There was 3 games this year where they outscored the opponents in tries, or the game was on the line. It was 2 points in it, and Kyle Flanagan more often than not found himself in a position where he couldn't even beat his player one-on-one to either create the overlap or score the try himself that would have gifted him the game. Can't. He's not a game breaker. He's not a big body. He's not a first grader. Look at Brad Arthur. Made his son leave the club because, he was being fair income. My son is, I'm fairly picking him in the team. If he's a first grader, he can make his path elsewhere. And Shane Flanagan needs to realise that. The worst thing he's done is, and it'll be music to hearing to all the Canterbury fans is he's actually extended his son to 2027. That's another 2 years. What's he going to do? They got Dan Atkinson coming to the club next year. He'll play 6 or 7. Liking King Toga is a better option in the halves than Kyle Flanagan anyway. So it'll be absolutely insane if he's still choosing his son in the halves next year starting and then tossing Liking King Toga in reserve grade. He's up against it, honestly. He'll probably end up losing his job by this year. He's got too much pride. I cannot see him lasting beyond this year. And I'm not referring to the son, I'm referring to the father. I think it's going to be an ugly, ugly divorce.
Wait, so you think that Shane Flanagan will not
He will not be coaching at the Dragons next year. Will not be there.
Really?
Will not be there.
That's a big call. So who's
been a year and a half. His son has been dreadful, and he's still running with it. I guarantee if they had a decent half last year, if they had let Marshke play in the halves with Hunt, they would have made the finals. You know, do you remember the light jab that Hunt took at father and son before the season started?
No, I don't.
You know, I think he was saying, you pick his son or something in the halves. Who remembers that? He had a jibe at father and son. Just Google it. You'll find something that Ben Hunt said. You know, even he knew that the son shouldn't be there.
So do you think all of the Dragons' problems coalesce around Kyle Flanagan?
The father. He didn't go chase out a proper half because he wants to protect his son in that 6. Of course, it's around Shane Flanagan. Don't put on Kyle, put on his dad.
So you tell me now... They
shouldn't be choosing him.
So are you telling me now, if they dropped Kyle Flanagan, the Dragons all of a sudden become a threat?
They're a lot better. They'll have more fluency in the halves. A lot better. You'll see it. You will definitely see it. At least he's got a way better kicking game than Kyle Flanagan. Have you seen Kyle Flanagan? I've seen under 13s or 14s boot the ball longer. Actually, there was something that embarrassing happened during the game last week. Leilua kicked the ball. I think it went 60 or 70 metres on the floor.
Yeah, it went longer than Kyle Flanagan.
It annoys me it annoys me. Larkin King Toga wants to kick the ball and he's got a decent kicking game. But Kyle Flanagan, more often than not, Dad, I want to take control of the team. I want to play 7. Wants to kick the ball. So you get 30-metre kicks. No kidding. It is so embarrassing. And you get bombs that are probably a high chip, if anything. It's embarrassing.
I realize he's really slow to kick the ball as well. Like, he takes his time.
He's not a natural footballer. It's like he has to, set himself in that. He's not a natural footballer. You know, his father was a natural footballer, not him. He's only playing footy because his dad was actually a really talented footballer back in the days.
So what do they do with Kyle Flanagan, given that his dad's the coach?
Well, once the father leaves, they'll probably give him a release or something. There's no need for him to be there.
Do you think that? Do you still want Shane Flanagan if he was to maybe move the team around and not have his son stuck there?
Honestly, I said this when they signed Kyle Flanagan. I see him as a 14. He can back up the hooker, which at the time was
Little.
What's our hooker that's absolutely setting it alight? Not Cook, the other one, Jacob Little, right? So he can back up Little, give Little 20-minute break here and there, or 15-minute break, and in a worst case scenario, he's an option for a back in case we get an injury. A sin bin on the field, for example. You know, those sort of things.
Or you can fill in at half if you need to. At a pinch, right?
During the game, you add a little bit of spice. See how Hayward does things?
Mm-hmm.
Hayward does them better. You know, I'm just saying.
I'm
just saying, like,
Hayward
that sort of
much
role.
Better. Bro, Hayward's much better than Kyle Flanagan.
Of course.
He's got.
See how Hayward does that role? Something like that. You know?
Yeah, I agree. As a utility, I think, I agree.
I watched the trials. If you remember, you were at that game against Souths. Marshke was St. George's best player by far.
He was killing it.
Jai Gray was South Sydney's best player, and he was the best player on the field as well.
Yes.
And then somehow Marshke found himself either on the bench or filling in at hooker for a few weeks, and only playing in the halves when Hunt was either injured or playing rep footy. Not once did he get to play with Marshke, him and Hunt together.
And you called it, I remember you called it all year last year. You were like, give Marshke and Hunt a go. Let's see what that combination can produce.
I wasn't. And a lot of people think because he's a neighbour of mine. A few doors down, but a lot of people thought it was. And I hardly speak to the guy. Lovely fella, lovely family, by the way. But I'll just say, I was just calling it as I observed it. And I had watched him reserve grade for a few years. I thought, he's too good to be playing reserve grade. I watched him in that grand final in 2023, and he was the best player on the field in a losing effort. He scored a sensational try. We beat 6 or 7 players. And then lo and behold, Melbourne took a punt on him first. If you know, Bellamy had him. And then what happened was Flanagan gave him a top 30 offer straight away. So you know what? Craig wanted him, but Craig goes, look, you better take this. You're guaranteed a spot. You're train and trial with us. You can either stay here, tough it out, but the money's a bit better at St. George, and you're guaranteed a spot. You'd be silly not to take it. You know, Craig Bellamy cares about people, you know. They made him come to St. George. Just Flanagan realised this guy's good. We need him. I thought, beautiful. This guy's going to be starting in our halves for us. Somehow, Kyle Flanagan was signed from Canterbury to be the marquee player. Absolutely ridiculous.
What about Jonah Glover?
Jonah Glover should have played. You know what? Jonah Glover at the back end of last year should have got a run. You know, when Marshke, when somebody bit someone's nose, if you remember.
No, remind me.
When he bit Critter's nose, Flanagan. I was so happy he got suspended for 4 weeks. I thought, that's it. We're going to make the finals. And then, we blew it in the last few games. But in one of those last 4 games, I thought Glover was worth a shot to have a go. You know, obviously Ben Hunton let us down in those last 4 games, surprisingly. They bottled it. They should have made the finals last year. I reckon they'd be comfortably in the top 8 this year. We had a decent half. Not the Sun, but if we had a decent half. Sorry, guys.
Yeah, I agree. Bro, I've been calling you guys.
And then don't get me wrong. Somehow scored about 4 tries a game, if I'm not mistaken, or 3.5 or something. With this guy playing in the halves, it's absolutely insane. And you know why? It's come on the back of Gutho and a few of those other Little and Cook and a few of those other classy players. Jaden Sewer, I think it's back next week. So, anyways, I don't know how some people play first grade, man. Jeez, he's not first grade. He would have struggled to play against me.
Do you think the Dragons make the 8?
No, definitely not.
No, definitely not. Not just the but definitely not.
It's definitely not. It's a bottom 4. I think I tipped them 12th or 13th based on the halves at the start of the year. Do you remember that? Or was it 11th? It was somewhere there. I didn't have the Dragons making the 8.
Yeah, you said something
I didn't. You know, I said they got talent, but they're missing middles. Although, you know what? The middles have been okay. Although we can get better middles. I said we got no halves.
No, your middles have been shit, bro. David Clemmer, Emre Gula, Blake Laurie.
No, they've done better than I expected, to be honest. Honestly,
okay,
Clemmer's
better than
been nowhere.
expected is one thing. Yeah, okay, fair enough.
You know, Clemmer has, not Clemmer, Gula's just either been injured or suspended. I don't know what we even got out of him. So, yeah.
All right. So,
you know
it's what? Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
No, I'm just saying, based on the middles and the halves, bang. That was the most key indicator to me that they weren't going to make the 8. Everyone thought, look at this guy, man. He's such a pessimist. No, it's clear as daylight. No,
you've lost, 4 games?
I knew he was going to pick his son. Huh?
Did you guys lose 4 games by 2 points or less?
I think 5.
5? Wow.
I think 6 games by 8 or less, and they've been blown off the park in, I think, 2 games.
Yeah, once against the Dragons and once against the
Dolphins and someone else. I can't. Roosters.
Dolphins and Roosters, yeah.
Yeah, like bad losses. That's why they're throwing against is like minus 50 or something. Whatever it is, 60, whatever it is.
All right. Well, you know what? What we'll do is we'll continue to monitor the Dragons situation. We'll have a little bit more talk about the Dragons and how we're going. It's 9 o'clock. I just want to take 5 or 10 minutes to give quick tips on the games coming up.
Love this. Go ahead.
Yeah, let's do that. So we'll do that very quickly, and then we'll call it a night. Just because I really love doing other teams and talking about them. So first game, obviously we've spoken about Origin, so we're not going to go there. The first game is going to be the West Tigers against the Raiders at 8 p.m. at Campbelltown Sports Stadium. What are your thoughts on this one, Divo?
You know what? So who's playing on the other wing for the Raiders?
So it's going to be Jed Stewart.
Jed Stewart, good
Ricky
player.
Stewart's son.
Oh, where's Chevy Stewart?
Why
is Ricky choosing his son? Mind you, his son's not a bad player. He's actually got some talent. But why is he choosing his son out of position to play on the wing? Has he been hanging out with Shane Flanagan too much?
I'm not sure.
Oh, where's Chevy Stewart playing? Where is he? This is insane.
Well,
This is a guy
Chevy
that's
Stewart's, yeah.
Where is he in the 20?
Yeah, he's in the 22.
You know why? He probably wanted to give his son his debut and say, all right, son, I've done my service as a father. Now either retire or go to England. Maybe he's doing that. We're up against the West Tigers. It's a game they can't afford to lose if they want to maintain the rage at the top. There he is, number 19. Come on. Chevy Stewart's a gun. Look at his back, Danny Levi. Ethan Sanders, good player. He'll be starting next year, Ethan Sanders in the halves. Pasami
Well,
Solo.
they did say they were going to go out for a 7.
I'm going to go Canberra by 10. Only by 10. Tigers will give a good account of themselves. Tough game. Is Luai playing?
Well, Luai's named.
What day is this game? Friday?
Friday. Yeah, I think he'll back up. If he's not injured, I think he'll back up.
Playing. I'll still stick to Canberra by 10 regardless. I thought he wasn't playing. That's why it made it a lot easier.
I'm going to go, if Luai plays, I'm going to go Tigers by 10.
All right, maybe Canberra won't be hungover.
I'm going to go Canberra. I'm going to go Tigers by 10. They got Dallin De Silva. My only concern is that their bench is very small. So I do expect there's going to be some changes come game day. I do expect Tony Suka to come in. I think Mason might make way and Latu Fainu to start alongside Jerome Luai. But that's just me thinking
in the starting lineup. Far out.
Yeah, they've got
in the team in the 17.
They've got 4 or 3. Sorry, 3. Samuel, Latu,
and the most talented one's the one in jail. But anyways,
yeah, Manassi Fainu.
Wow, what a player!
Yeah, but so I'm going Tigers. You're going Raiders. Guys, in the chat, let us know.
Let us know your tips, boys. Always love to see it.
Yeah, for sure. All right.
So look at this game.
Next game, it's the Panthers against the Warriors. The Panthers will be without all their origin players because they aren't able to get to New Zealand in time from Perth.
What? They have 4 days and they can't make it?
Well, that's what...
3 days, sorry.
Came out. Yeah, that's the report that came out apparently because of RLPA.
Warriors it is. I was actually going to tip Penrith, but Warriors
if they had all their players, I would have tipped all their...
That's spewing because I think Penrith's ninth at the moment. I'm going to go Warriors by 16. That's spewing.
Yeah, I'm going to go Warriors by plenty, only because, the Panthers don't have their players.
That's ridiculous. Couldn't they make this game the Sunday or Monday game? Honestly.
That's what I was asking.
There's some absolute baboons in headquarters. Like, fair income. At 1 week's notice, as if he's going to move the game 1 or 2 days.
Yeah.
Sorry for getting a bit worked up. But it's
I agree with you 100%.
They're going to have flexibility, like the English Premier League. Next game, Dolphins by 32.
So obviously Ponga's there.
Dominic Young's there already.
Yeah.
Bradman Best is back. Look at their back 5. It looks solid.
Yeah, it looks a lot better than it was last week. Yeah.
Cogger.
It'd be a good game.
I go 32. Wow, I actually went. That's a mistake.
No.
Piece Paul, what a player.
Yeah, I think the Dolphins are going to put a massive score on them. Like a really
You know what? Jermaine McEwen, another good player. Who else have they got in there?
Oh, he's great. McCowan's great. That Celestia Moana was very good for them when he debuted as well. I think
they're looking good all of a sudden. I went 32. Too late. I'm going to go 32.
Their forward pack's too small, so they've got Phoenix crossing that lock, which is okay. But then they've got a smallish forward pack, and they've got Tyson Frizzell and Matt Croker. I just don't think they'll be able to keep up with the Dolphins. I'm going to go 32. Dolphins by a huge score. Like a huge
32.
score.
Let's go. Let's hope we're wrong, but 32
and look, Isaiah Katoa is
Dolphins 66-0. Thanks, Jamie.
What a great call, bro. Great
call. Way. That's good.
Dolphins by plenty, I think.
Yep.
Then you got the Rabbitohs against the Storm.
Storm by 14.
It's at Accor.
Regardless, Storm by 14.
Upset? Oh, they got Lewis Dodd at 7. They've got too many injuries.
No, it's 6. At 6. This is, you know what? I actually like this.
Sorry. Lewis Dodd at 6.
I'm liking that. What happened to Sullivan?
Injured.
I want to see Dodd perform. He's actually not a bad player. Just had a shit start, but yeah.
I'm gonna go Storm by 6.
Yeah, nice.
I just don't think they're in good form. Then you got the Broncos and the Sharks up there at Suncorp. Obviously, Reece Bosch is playing. Karapani remains on the wing.
Interesting. He's even a
Cobbo
winger.
still dropped. Yeah. I'm actually going to go
Payne
Sharks by
Haas.
12 on this one.
Payne Haas.
Yeah, Payne Haas up against.
Hopefully the Sharks die, and I've got Broncos by 12.
No, I've got Sharks winning comfortably here. Adam Fanil-Blake to have a big game. Blake Brayley to destroy them up the middle. The Broncos beat a really poor Titans, and they're celebrating. They're just a bunch of donkeys. I just think the Sharks will be much better here. And the Broncos will just show us once again why they're pretenders. Then it's going to be the Roosters up against the Cowboys. Cowboys coming off an absolute flogging by the Dolphins. They absolutely got flogged.
Roosters by 22.
Yeah, I was going to say Roosters by quite a big margin. I think
it's crazy. Walker came back and broke his thumb or something.
Yeah, man, he's so lucky.
What? Hang on a sec. How good has Sandon Smith and Savala been after the slow start to the year? They've absolutely hit their straps.
Yeah. Fantastic. I will say, while Mark Nawanga-Tinawase is great in attack, he has rubbish defense. Like, that dude cannot defend for his flipping life.
He needs more time. I think next year will be a lot better.
He'll be better, but
he's so used to that union style of defending. He's kind of like
bro, if they target him, they will score so many points on his wing.
So flat-footed. Yeah, he's a good chap to run it. You're right.
But I do think the Roosters will have too much. I think the Cowboys are done for the year, more or less. I think they'll struggle to make the 8. Yeah, I reckon it's going to be, it'll be the Roosters 12 plus. I reckon 13 plus. Then we got, it's the Battle of the Spoon. Eels versus Titans. I thought the Titans played very well against a really horrible.
I'm going to go Titans.
Team.
I'm going to go Titans. They got some self-belief.
So the Eels are missing both Dylan Brown and Mitchell Moses, and they've got Josh Papali'i and Dean Hawkins in their 6 and 7.
Decent players. What happened to Dylan Brown?
I don't know. I don't think they miss much by losing Brown, but they do miss a lot by losing Mitch Moses.
Moses, yeah.
But I thought last start, Dean Hawkins had a very, very good game against, I believe it was against Manly, without Mitch Moses. It was just before Origin 1. So I do think they'll have a good game. Yeah. But I think AJ Brimson at fullback against the Manly, he tore them up. Kieran Foran at 6, Campbell at 7. I think it's a great combo there. And Verrills backing up the spine. I reckon that's the best way to go about it. It'll just depend if Mo Fotuaika and Tino Fa'asu Mala'awi do return from Origin, and Dave Fifita is 18th man. So I'll be interested to see if he plays.
Nice.
Yeah. And you know what's interesting as well? Brian Kelly's been dropped.
Look, no one's immune. If you get complacent, I reckon for me, Kelly's a better selection than Philip Sami.
Look, the thing with Kelly is he's got so many defensive lapses. He just cannot defend for his life, bro. He's good
up
attack,
and down.
Just cannot defend. He just cannot defend. And so I think this is a good back line. I've got the Titans here, to be honest. Only because I feel like they have a little bit more experience, and they had a great win against Manly, and they'll sort of build on that confidence. Whereas the Eels are coming off a bye. They don't have their star halfback.
Can you go to the bench? Just quickly.
Yeah, sure.
Down. All right, so he's put him on the bench. All right.
Wurumu Greg is back this week, which I think is also very interesting.
Guy hasn't played since last year. How do you make it all of a sudden?
Yeah, it's interesting. I think
they tried to shop him around.
Yeah, but then, Charlie Geimer I thought is good. He's not getting a chance. Dan Keir's also okay. So maybe he's training the house down. I don't know, but good to see him getting his chance. Where's Ryan Madison?
Playing Ron Massey.
You know what? He's just not. I don't know. Madison's over it, bro. He was never good to begin with. Honestly, I never rated him. And so yeah, I'm calling it. I'm going to say Titans by 10. What do you think? What do you think of this one, Dibbo?
Yeah, I went Titans as well. That's a good shout, actually. Titans by 14 or 10. Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah. And look, with that, we are sort of done. We've come to the end of the podcast. Bulldogs, Nas, Eddie Abs, Jamie Teasdale, Knox, Norm Eater, MKTV, everyone that's still here. We love you guys. We appreciate all your support. We look forward to an absolutely cracking State of Origin game tomorrow. I cannot wait for that game. I think it's going to be a big win for the Blues. We'll be here next week, same time. If you know, we've done, I put out a bunch of content this week. I've got more content coming out this week, a lot more content coming out next week. So if you haven't seen it, please go to our channel, watch all the videos. Please like this video before you leave, give it a thumbs up, subscribe, do all the things. And thank you so much for joining. Dibbo, thank you so much as always for being such a great co-host and being a lot of fun. Love you boys. Up the dogs, and we'll see you guys next week. Have a good one and have a good weekend and have a good Origin. Take care. Jamie with the $5 super chat just before we leave. Thank you, Jamie. We love it. Thank you very, very much. Look, unfortunately, I know you go for Queensland, but up the dogs. Up the Blues. Up the Blues. Up the Blues.
Sky man's far out, man.
Too exuberant. Too exuberant.
Blue and white, anyways.
Have a good night, guys.
Apparently, I've got to stay in the studio. Yeah, Abdul? When does it finish uploading?